All right. Our captains this week are defensively Jarquez Samuel and Evan McKelvey. On offense will be Devontae Allen and Ryan Yurchek. And as you know, of course, three of our last four games that we've got here are on the road, so it's important, this being on the road again, that these guys go on and provide great leadership along with the rest of the leadership on our football team. That has to happen when you go on the road, and be no different this week. If you look at the Middle Tennessee team, Rick Stockstill's done a tremendous job there. If you look offensively, it starts with their quarterback, his son, Brent Stockstill. He's a redshirt freshman. If you look at his stats and his touchdown to interception ratio, he's done a tremendous job there. They got two of the best receivers that we've seen to date. Baddies and Richard James are both really tremendous. Go look at their stats, and you'll see stat-wise that they're good players, and they got great running backs, and they're really good up front defensively. They got a lot of athletes back, so it's going to be a great challenge for us. And you saw them. Of course, we've had two great games against them the last couple of years, and when you look at them physically, they'll be as talented as anybody in our league, and we know it's going to be a great challenge for us, especially going on the road. So it's going to be important. We have a great week of preparation and get ready to go play.
How big of a challenge do their linebackers pose? They got all three of those guys back
Yeah,
last year.
they got a lot of guys back, and that one line, T.T. Barber, seems like he's been there forever. I mean, he led the league in interception. I mean, it seems like, I know this is our third year playing him, but he's been one of the top linebackers in our league all 3 years, and has led them in tackles, and so he's talented. But they got the big safeties are back. They got 300, and they're like twins in there. The inside guys are both like 320, 6'1", and very physical and hard to move around. So, like I say, they got a lot of guys back. They're really well coached, and it'll be a great challenge for us.
Pleased were you to see the tempo elevate, and it seemed like Chase handled it really well and was able to distribute it to a lot of different receivers, which was key.
Well, it was good, and I thought our tempo helped us, and we got to clean up some things that we created because of our tempo, with some false starts and some things that were created because we hadn't played fast in a while, and some snap count issues. So those are the things we got to get worked on this week. But I thought the tempo did help us, and I thought Chase executed that really well. And if we just eliminate those penalties that we had there, especially in the second half, I think it was a pretty good performance by offense. But we got to get better, on offense, defense, and of course special teams.
How much different does middle look than last year? Last year it was like they had 2 or 3 running backs that they would just funnel in and sort of be a power team. Now Stockstill's kids throwing it all over the field.
Well, they're all still there, and of course Grammer's quarterback started against us a year ago, so it's obvious Stockstill's better than Grammer because he beat him out. And so that means they've got a better quarterback. And they got all the running backs are back in place. They're all there, but the freshman's starting over the rest of them. So that means he's pretty good. And the offensive line is just about back intact. And they got those 2 receivers that, like I say, are the best we've seen to date. So they'll be a great challenge for our defense. And then you look at their, look at them from a defensive standpoint. The linebackers are back, the secondary's back. They got those 2 big inside guys back. They lost the 2 ends, but they're replaced by very athletic guys. So. Again, Rick's done a great job of recruiting there and getting the players in, and so like I say, they'll be a handful for us.
What do you expect blitz-wise, where they come from so many different angles out of different areas of the field?
Well, they do bring a lot of pressure, and it seems like we get a lot of pressure from about everybody. But probably because we got a young quarterback. But that being said, our guys have done a pretty good job of IDing the blitzes and picking them up, and they'll be no different this week. We'll have to do a great job of knowing the indicators and where they're coming from, and Alex and Chris will have to do a great job of coaching those running backs and linemen up this week to make sure we can pick up those blitzes.
It is a team that's been bit a little bit by the injury bug. How well they handled that you can tell?
Well, it looks like most of them are back now. The big left tackle, 75, was as good a player as has been in our league for a while. He missed the first 4 games, and he's back starting now. I was trying to get Darius Johnson. He's a big-time guy that's been a player for a long time. He missed the first 4, but he's back now. He was probably their best O-lineman a year ago, so he's back in there. And the backs are all back, like I say, but that freshman's playing more than 1 and more than 6 and 5. So they're all back, and those receivers. But I think everybody, as I mentioned before, has got that injury issue and has had it all year. And we've had it, they've had it, and I'm sure Rick doesn't feel any different than I do. Somebody else has to step up and go play, and that's what they've done. They're getting some guys back, and hopefully we do too.
You look at that record; those 5 losses. They weren't cheap, were they?
No, I mean they lost. They had Vanderbilt had them beat up until the last in the fourth quarter there, and Vandy went down, scored, beat them right there at the end. Missed a field goal against Illinois that would have beat him there at the end. Of course, played Alabama. Then played two of the better teams in our league, in Western and La Tech, and lost to those two teams. So their 5 losses are against 5 good football teams, and I'm sure that they'll. Thing is too, they've had a week off. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for us, and we're going right now. We're going on our 10th straight week without a break. So I guess that's something we got to deal with and get back. But they've had a couple weeks to prepare for us, which should give them the advantage.
Think back to they may have to rally from 3 and 6. They certainly have to rally from 3 and 5 to make a bowl game. Think back to 2011. You were 4 and 6 and had to win the last 2 games. What kind of level of desperation comes with that?
I try not to remember that. I can't remember yesterday. How the hell am I going to remember 3 years ago, whatever that 2000? What year was that?
It was 11.
I can't go back that far. I'm trying to figure that's part of the past. I'm not going to go there.
But the level of desperation, I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean you get to that, but it's it's all just he's had a couple weeks to get him back, and I know when we take every week we take everybody's best shot. I mean, you look at every game we played this year, and we take everybody's North Texas and Charlotte, and every game we play, it's a big game because we made it a big game. I mean, it always is, and this will be no different. Rick will do a great job of having that team prepared to play, and we know we're going to get their best shot, and we just got to make sure we're prepared to make sure that we know that's going to happen.
Your last conference road loss was there, and it seemed like right after that game, you all turned a corner and haven't looked back. What was it about that experience there, losing on the last play, that helped your guys sort of realize, hey, and flip the switch?
Well, I think at that point, I mean, I think the guys just had enough. There came, and at that point, the culture had not changed. That was a point where, we were finding ways to, we had an opportunity in that game 2 years ago, whatever that was, to win that game at the end multiple times. I mean, a couple times we could have intercepted that ball and the game was over and didn't find a way to get it done and didn't do it. And I think the guys finally put their foot down and said, you know what, we got to quit finding ways to lose them, find ways to win them. And at that point, the culture did change. I know we had to kick a field goal, I think, after that at FAU to find a way to win that one. And from that point on, these kids have found ways to win games, which is the number one thing. And but you're right. I think that was a turning point, a couple of years ago that got us to the point where we are right now.
When do you realize that as a coach that it's flipped for the guys? Like was it FAU that following week? Was it a few weeks down the road?
I don't think you realize it totally until you've done it for a while. Until you find a way to get FAU and then find a way to get another one, and then you look up and you've won whatever 28 of the last 30 or 30 of the last 34, and you feel pretty good about where you are. That's changed at that point, but that's it. I know it's a great feeling to know that the kids find ways to win games, and we've done it. For the last 3 years, and that needs to continue because we're going to have to find a way to win this one because it's going to be a dogfight down there against a good football team.
You guys going to count as a slight underdog, Doc, for the first time in a long time. Will your kids use that as motivation?
I don't know. I mean, I think they use motivation, by the way. You just got to prepare. It's the next game up. It's a big game. It's a championship game because it's a conference game. Every game we play, I've mentioned many times, you have to treat it like a championship game because really that's what it is. Ultimately, we want to go play for that conference championship at some point. So you got to take them 1 week at a time, prepare every week like it's a championship game, and go play your tail off, or you're not going to get to that point. So for us, it's a big game because it's the next one, and it's on the road, and we got to find a way to have a great week this week. This game's going to be won today and tomorrow, and by the way, prepare up until Saturday, just like all of them. And we can't change what we're doing. We just got to keep working. Going to work every day and work to get better. I think the one thing I mentioned a week ago I like about this team is we've gotten better every week, I think. Offensively we've made strides. Defensively we've been pretty consistent throughout the year. And special teams we've been pretty consistent throughout the year. Offensively we've been a little bit up and down. But we hadn't turned the ball over in the last couple of games, taking care of the football. I thought we did a better job of offensively making plays last week. And we just got to, again, just keep getting better overall as a football team this week so we can play again, better on Saturday.
Last 3 weeks, you all started pretty quick out of the gate too. I mean, FAU and North Texas and here. What has been the biggest change in offensively being able to put points on the board early and getting into your defense to put pressure on you?
I think just coming out and making plays, and just come out and just make plays, and had the opportunity. Your good players made play. I mean, Devontae made a tremendous play on the one. Chase did a nice job throwing it in there, and just players going out and making plays and do what they're coached to do. And the other thing is the defense getting a stop. We went in there 3 and out and got a stop, whatever that was, and got the ball right back and took it right down the field. So, just playing and making plays and, both offensively and defensively, doing what you're asked to do and do what you're coached to do.
What flipped the switch for Devontae Allen last week? What made him suddenly?
He played extremely well against FAU, and I think he only had 3 catches. But you go back and look at that tape. He was a captain after that game because of the way how hard he went, how well he played, and finally we just got the ball. He had more opportunity. I think what flipped the switch was he had the opportunity. We gave him opportunities to make plays, and he made them. And he's a talented guy. He hadn't changed any. I think Chase just did a better job of getting him the ball, and us as coaches did a better job of getting him the ball. And sometimes the game and what they're doing coverage-wise and all that dictates him having that opportunity. But he had the opportunity, and what was great about it, when he had the opportunity, he made play. That was about as good a performance I've seen a wideout. And Woody, you've seen some really good ones around here over your years that I've seen since I've been here for sure. And I coached those guys for about 18 years and had a lot of really good ones. But that's about as good a performance as I've seen from that position.
I know that everybody looks at it coming in. You got a redshirt freshman from Middle Tennessee starting quarterback. You all got a freshman starting at quarterback. But at this point of the year, are they really freshmen, or is it enough experience and enough numbers being put up that you just say they're players, they're not freshmen?
Well, I think there's a little bit of truth to what you're saying. I know Rick's guy's been there. He was a redshirted guy, and he's a coach's son. He's been around Rick his whole life, so he's got a little bit more experience than what our freshman does. But I like where our freshman is. I like what he's doing. I like the way he handles himself. I like the way he goes to work every day. And they're both tremendous young players that have great futures. And it's going to be freshman versus freshman, I guess, on Saturday. So it'll be fun to watch.
How do you keep you guys mentally fresh, mentally strong throughout 10 weeks, like you said, playing and not getting a break?
Well, you got to, you can't worry about anything other than ball and school. You start getting into anything else. You can't do everything every day, and they just got to focus on. It's down right now to a 3-week season, basically. You're down to 3 games left, and you just talk all the time about how much work goes into our program and how much you start back in January and the mat drills and the spring balls and the winter conditionings and everything that goes into it. And it's boiled down to about a 3-week window right now that you've got to do everything you can possibly do as far as taking care of yourself, eating right, making good decisions, getting the proper rest, and doing everything you got to do to be prepared to go play a game, because you have to be able to do that because it is a grind. It's a grind, and we ask these guys to do a lot out here on the practice field, so they got to take care of themselves. So you got to do a great job of taking care of yourself off the field from the time we leave here, and so you're back ready to go the next day in order for us to get where we want to go.
Where have you seen Chase grow the most at from his first couple of starts to now, 7 starts under his belt?
Well, I think just the understanding the offense and making the right reads and confidence. And although he's always been a really confident guy, which is tremendous at that position, but his leadership skills, I think he's just grown overall. And Billy's done a great job with him as far as getting him ready, prepared to play. And he's just doing what we ask him to do and do what he's coached to do, and letting those kids around him go make plays, which is critical at that position.
With substitutions in the second half and with some injuries that you've been battling, I know in the past you had trouble coming out of the locker room, maybe getting that quick start you wanted. That hasn't been a problem, but it's been a problem in the second half, the offense being able to finish. Is there anything, other than maybe a freshman quarterback, that is got to be fixed, or is that just going to happen when you've got a big lead? It's hard to maintain that pace.
No, I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's hard to maintain it, Woody. I think we moved the ball well in the third quarter. We just didn't put it in the end zone, and a lot of it was because of the penalties, and which is one of the reasons you got to eliminate the penalties. Number one. And in the fourth quarter, we got into a substitution thing. We had a lot of young kids in there and different guys, and that was maybe the biggest issue in the fourth quarter. But the third quarter, we had no problem moving the ball up and down the field. We just got to finish drives. You got to finish it. You got to finish it by eliminating the penalties and continue to make plays. But it wasn't a problem moving the ball. It was a problem we put ourselves in a hole because of the penalties, and those had to be eliminated. But eliminate those, and we probably scored 2 or 3 more touchdowns. For sure, one, because we had to hand the face on the one that we scored, and a couple of them ended up 3rd and 15 or whatever, and missed a couple field goals because we were penalized.